It's fast, it's slick, it's higher grade. It's Share Shootout here on CNBC Africa First with Business Worldwide. Do follow the show on Twitter. We've got a hashtag SSO. If you need it explained, you shouldn't be watching the show. Welcome to the show this evening. I'm Bruce Whitfield. We are doing Share Shootout this evening. Big questions. Did you know whether or not the arson attack on the ANC's Lutuli House started as a Cuban cigar party? Does Spain need another bailout to afford getting bail in? And did Steve Ballmer really buy Nokia handsets, or was the $7 billion price tag designed to put the English football transfer season to shame, as Microsoft may very well have secured a new chief executive in the process? We don't know the answers to any of these vexing questions, but we do have fresh meat on the Share Shootout butcher's block this evening. His name is Clive Ramathibela Smith from Inkunzi Investment. He joins us to take on the reigning champion with his 8 appearances with 5 wins and 3 disastrous losses. The only other guy I know who chooses to go on holiday with his mother-in-law. Both our guests have pre-picked 3 shares this evening. Neither knows what the other holds, but each must accept at least one of their competitor stocks. Clive now understands the rules, which is good. They have to accept, Sasha still doesn't. They have to accept something they really won't like if they leave it too long. So all of that is coming up. And each there has got 30 seconds to argue their stock picks. And so now that we know the house rules, kind of, sort of, we get to manage. I'm going to ask you to shake hands, because this is the last time you're going to actually want to talk to each other. Oh, he's got a mean look in his eye.
There were 5 low-quality wins.
And there were 5 low-quality wins, 3 high-quality defeats.
Yes.
Most certainly high-quality defeats. Because we're gentlemen.
Yes.
I think we should make you go first, so that Clive gets into the swing of things and he can then prepare his gunpowder for the gunfight. Okay, so in 30 seconds, Sasha Naryshkine from Vestact, I would like to know why you would go long on the very expensive Tiger Brands. In 30 seconds, please.
Because it's actually pulled back about 50 runs from its high, and it's trading at a forward multiple of around 15 times. Now, I think the African expansionary story has been well vocalized by the chief executive. So I think you're going to have to wait a little bit while for the earnings to translate through, but you could use the share price pullback as an opportunity to go long at these levels for what I think will be the premier foods company in Africa in the coming decade.
Tiger Brands becomes Premier Foods, does it?
The premier.
The premier.
The premier.
The premier. What do you think, Clive, of Sasha's first pick this evening?
To be quite honest, I don't think so. I think there's consumer at the moment under a lot of pressure. I'm very worried about the PE ratio as well. And you have to really look at the fundamentals to understand why I wouldn't actually take care of Tiger Brands at the moment.
Okay, well, tell us about those fundamentals that you don't like.
Well, I don't like the management. Made lots of mistakes in the past, first and foremost.
What mistakes has the management team under Peter McLaren made?
I think they've taken it. Well, to be honest, the story is very good, but at the same time, they've made some blunders investments of acquisitions as well. So I would be very much not in favour of Tiger Brands for those reasons.
Blundered investments.
I think maybe
they paid a lot for Dangote File Mills.
Exactly, but and I wouldn't exactly suggest
Dangote.
Yes, who's building a refinery.
Absolutely.
Good
with the spare change.
Not just the proceeds. No. It was a relatively small transaction. Yeah. But I think what it does is Nigeria is a fantastic opportunity. People pay 30 times for Nestle Nigeria. You might well argue, they're nuts too. But on a simple fundamental basis, Nigeria has transformed to what used to be, a country ruled under military dictatorship to a fledgling democracy. And you've got 160 million entrepreneurial types who are looking to make headway over their neighbor and even their own family members. So why I think they've positioned themselves in that regard is to be able to replicate the same sort of consumer story. And GDP growth rates are far greater north of our borders.
I don't buy demographic stories. Demographic stories bore me. I don't know about you, Clive. I get concerned about he was yawning behind you. I don't buy GDP growth stories. I don't buy demographic stories. I buy competitive companies in aggressively competitive markets doing better than their rivals. Yeah. Will Tiger Brands do that?
I doubt it. I pretty much doubt it. And I think that the only reason why I must go against it is simply because, first of all, I just mentioned some of the blunders. And the Nigerian story, you have to understand, you said you're talking about geographical areas, but the Nigerian story is, I think it's overrated too much, because I don't think the Nigerian market can handle the type of products that Tiger Brand would have to offer to that market. I'm very concerned about what they believe, and Nigeria is still a very cash controlled market. Will Tiger Brands be able to conform to those regulatory?
So in short, you're shooting it down.
Yes, I am.
You've been shot down. He understands the rules
He
of the
does,
game.
very quickly. Yeah.
Very quickly. Are you a little bit afraid yet?
No, all humans hate losing.
All right, well, let's see how good he is at this game. Clive Ramathibela Smith from Inkunzi Investments. Your first pick this evening, Sibanye Gold. His eyes have lit up with hope.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going short.
I am going short. It's simply because of the following reasons. Very great PE ratio at the moment. I just looked at the recent numbers that came out, that they've brought out. Not necessarily great, but the gold story, obviously, we all know about the gold price has been going up, which is very fantastic for them. And I still think that with wage negotiations now being wrapped up, that this is a very nice story to go into at these low prices at the moment.
Okay, so, but the point is, you're going short on Sibanye.
Yes.
You're going absolutely short on Sibanye, a market cap of 7.5 billion rand. Can you argue against a short on a marginal gold business?
No.
All right, so you're going to accept this one?
Yeah, he's all right.
Oh, excellent. I mean, this was an easy one for him because he hates gold shares.
I don't hate gold shares.
Okay.
I don't hate gold companies, but as an investment.
You detest them as investments.
As an investment. So I wish them really well as a company. I don't understand the logic behind owning gold as 2% or 5% as an end of the world us and cockroaches type trade.
Yeah.
Don't understand that. Doesn't pay you anything. There's a holding cost for gold. And I think we're living in a world that's slightly different from 2,000 years ago, where Tutankhamun adorned himself with gold. Maybe it was 4,000.
That was 4,000
my
years
history's
ago.
not good.
But,
Really.
well, as long as you can look forward and not always have to look backward.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the gold story is one that some people find compelling. They find it obligatory to own these companies.
They normally
There
have
has
long
been-
hair. Yes.
They do have long hair. Some of them have no hair, and some have beards.
Yes.
Now, when you look at the gold story, the gold price very close to $1,400 an ounce. It's had a nice little rally. It has lifted some of the gold shares. Don't you ever want to have a little punt on these things, Sasha?
No, because just remind me what your overall return's been in the South African Gold Index for the last 10 years.
Well, it depends how well you've traded these things.
No, it's been a train wreck. It's been a train wreck.
As a long-only investor, absolutely it's been a train wreck. Is there a trading option on Sibanye? You go short in it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you trade the gold shares, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, how aggressively do you trade these things?
Not too aggressive, because we understand the expense, obviously, so therefore we need to take that into cognizance before even actually buying. But I think the real value out of it is that, and the story is that obviously the Chinese high demand for gold products has been fantastic in the recent times. So I'm looking to see how that will diversify. And in the short time, because of the gold price going up, I don't see interest rates going up anytime soon. So that's why I say.
Okay, dumping Sibanye Gold, going short. Sasha accepts your short on Sibanye Gold. And I think he's going to be grateful, although your number 3 is going to be tempting for him as well, I suspect as well. He's got a cunning set of picks this evening, has our newcomer to share Shootout this evening, Clive Ramathibela Smith from Inkunzi Investment. Sasha Naryshkine, your second pick, a 60 billion rand Swiss-South African giant, which if you lose this
Middle
evening
East.
and slit your wrists, you might very well need their services. Tell us about the nice people at Mediclinic and why you think they're a good bet right now in 30 seconds.
Okay, recently recapitalized their business underwritten by Remgro, big shareholder there. I think health care is going to become probably the biggest theme of the next decade to decade and a half across the globe. People are living longer, people want to live longer, expensive therapies are available, and most importantly, people can afford it. So you want
They can
to
afford it because we've got a healthy medical aid industry.
Well, that's true, but you've got to have cutting-edge technology, and you've got to maintain a positive presence in developing markets, which they do in South Africa, and a high care unit in Switzerland, which is hugely profitable.
Okay, I gave you extra time because I interrupted.
I didn't even hear the
No,
clock
you
go
didn't
off.
because you're such a professional.
Hey,
Okay,
yes.
so
Thanks,
Mediclinic, do you like Mediclinic?
I do. I do like the story. I do like the fact that they've got a number of hospital beds available. And I think that because of the growing middle class, you still start finding a lot of people having medical aid, and they do use those beds. I don't know how empty they are, but at the moment, but I do believe that going forward, like you were saying, people living longer, there will be definitely.
I think if City Lodge could get the occupancies of a medical and a Netcare, they would have a much stronger business model. I think these occupancies like at 80 or 90%. They can release people on weekends.
City Lodge is what, 62,
60%,
61? Yeah.
We should turn City Lodge into hospitals. There's an idea.
Very, very good idea.
We'll talk to Clifford Ross about that.
After the Nelson Mandela Hospital, Children's Hospital.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bruce, I think one last point here that I think is worth making. I think the technological advancements we've seen in the developed world can be replicated here and boost margins. So what I mean is when you walk into these facilities, it is paper from the start all the way through to the end, and you literally fill in 10 different forms.
You're
exactly
half dead.
the same.
You need to be admitted to hospital, and they're asking you for a medical aid card. You've got your head on the desk. You're writing like this. You can't even read your own blooming handwriting.
Think about potentially. There are big businesses in the US like Cerner, which has digitized the entire process from beginning to end. So there are opportunities.
Is there any sign that we're going that way, or are we still stuck in the paper revolution?
I think it's going to take a long time. I think it's a giant shift to move to that kind of advanced state, and it will take us a long time, and I think our private clinics are doing pretty well in that, and hopefully they will get over it and bring some of these technologies here in South Africa, and I think this is the best place to start, because
the airline industry is managed, and the airline industry's got a lot more moving parts. I don't know the hospital sector can't do it. It seems ridiculous that you can't be checking in on your iPad as you're being driven by ambulance to hospital.
Well, Discovery are trying, and Discovery are innovating, and every time there's a procedure, Discovery, I'm not talking out of personal experience, but they're pretty interactive with you from the beginning to the end of the process. So
does it cost you more, though?
It doesn't, no.
Okay. Well, it shouldn't cost you more because you're making that process more efficient for them.
Exactly.
So I think their margins will be boosted in years to
eventually when they get around to actually making their businesses more efficient. You're buying the story, you're giving it the big thumbs up, you're saying Mediclinic is one you would add even at current levels. It's had a nice big run up recently as well because it's been in the big MSCI index.
Correct, it's actually trading near its all-time highs,
okay.
Which might be a concern, but 20% growth rates and a 20 multiple kind of neutralize it from an expensive.
No, I can accept that. Mediclinic, going long on Mediclinic, market cap of 60 billion rand and rising, says Sasha Naryshkine. We'll see just how far it does rise. Let's have a look here now, Clive. I have succeeded in destroying my entire screen. So I have absolutely no idea what your next pick is. There we go. I've got it. Construction sector hardly covering itself in glory in the last couple of years. It's been massively criticized. It's gone on the defensive. They've got negative PEs in many of these construction companies. Why is it in the next 30 seconds that you would think that Stefanutti stocks might be worth your money?
It would be, because all the World Cup scenarios and all the price fixing its scenarios are out of the picture now. They started from ground zero. So I believe that with the number of projects that are coming up currently right now, we're talking about the NDP, those three letters, National Development Plan. I start thinking about deals that will come out of that. And as well, they're very diversified. I know you're going to bang me for this one, but they do try out. If they don't do construction, they can do something like they were talking about environmental development as well. So that's a very good story for me. And at the levels that they are at the moment, I believe in them.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I can say without any question of ever being contradicted on this, I have no desire to bang you. Right, on that particular point, he did say, I know you're going to bang me on this, and I'm just for the record pointing out that I'm
he
not
meant crush. Don't be like
okay,
that.
I won't be like that. Is there any construction company in the country worth buying at the moment, before we talk specifically about Stefanutti?
It depends if you're an institutional investor or a private investor.
If you're a human being.
No, because and let me quantify that. If you're an individual investor, you want to own a smaller portfolio of stocks. So therefore, you cannot ride out the long cyclical ups and downs in the industry. But if you're a pension fund, you can hold it as a smaller percentage and ride the waves up and down. And you know how far it is from peak to trough. It's much longer than other cycles.
Absolutely.
So I think that point's worth making, and seeing as we make investments on behalf of individuals,
human beings,
we tend to avoid the construction sector as a whole.
Okay, if you were looking at the construction sector and you were being obliged to pick a construction sector share, because I was asking you really nicely, I was saying, Sasha, I really want some construction sector exposure in a portfolio. Which construction sector stock would you put into that portfolio?
Kind of a small cap level, maybe you saw Frankie, and then a little bit higher up the feeding chain in the middle, probably Steph stocks, and then right
so
at
you
the
don't
top.
test it.
No, but you've asked me to pick one. Told you as a rule we avoid the whole thing.
I think I'm going to go trout fishing soon because I'm good at this game.
Wilson Bailey probably at the top.
Okay, so Wilson Bailey at the top. You would choose Stefanutti stocks. Do you like it?
No. I've told you we avoid the sector. No.
Okay, so it's not for the purposes of the game. If you were forced, if I was to say, give me a mid-sized construction company, Stefanutti stocks would be your least disliked mid-sized
probably, but I mean, I think in the how long is it do you have to buy this one? Maybe it's 12 months, maybe it's 18 months. I don't see anything happening anytime soon.
So you're shooting it down?
Yes.
Okay, he's shooting it down.
How sad.
It is sad.
You have to. This is how the game works, because otherwise it's over already.
Yes, exactly. But I think what we've got on our plates this evening is a sucker punch par excellence, because Sasha Naryshkine has got a cunning trick up his sleeve in the next part of the show. So is Clive Ramathibela Smith from Inkunzi Investment going to regret his acceptance of Mediclinic? Because the next picked up Sasha Naryshkine's sleeve is absolutely strategically brilliant. He has played this game 8 times before. You would think he knows how it works. The gloves are off on the other side of this. You don't want to miss it.